Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy Siskind. I'm the author of the Jazz Piano Fundamentals series. Here's book 3, 2, and 1, all available at jeremysiskind.com. You can get them as a little bundle. Also, Solo Standards for Piano, the least expensive book that I sell, as well as Playing Solo Jazz Piano with an introduction by Fred Hirsch himself. Now, if you've been following this channel for a while, you might know one of my very favorite improvisation exercises, activities to assign my students. I made a video, I think a while back, called If You're Ever Gonna Come Take a Lesson With Me, Be Able to Do This First. And it's an arpeggio exercise because I just think it's so important to be able to find chord tones. So the arpeggio exercise is designed to, here, let's go over to this view, to be able to help you find the 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th of every chord. And the subject of this video is that I'm changing something about my very favorite long time exercise to respond to what I'm seeing in my students. So I thought it would be interesting to share that with you all. But first, let's learn the original exercise, and I'll give you a couple of variations, a couple of extra steps if you want to try this at home. So here's the chord changes for Autumn Leaves, and on each chord, I'm going to be playing the 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th. And now notice that I'm not just playing these notes in any old order, in any old rhythm. I am doing this in time as 8th notes, and in particular, so that the 9th is arriving on the end of 2. Right, so we get a little bit of syncopation in here, and when we practice something like this, I can't stress enough, you actually want to practice with the metronome in time. If you could do this out of time, it doesn't matter at all. I'm going to be 0% impressed. I'm going to say, let's do it with the metronome. Because I always say practicing without the metronome is like playing tennis without a net. Anybody can hit great shots without a net, but the metronome is our net. It's telling us whether we're actually doing it or not. So I don't really care what you play in the left hand. I would suggest practicing with some sort of a backing track like I Wrote Pro. I'm just gonna play the roots in the left hand for now so that you can hear this. And it should sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's do the second line as well, because the second line presents a couple of difficulties if the first line doesn't. We're going into minor keys and we have different kind of chords. On a half diminished chord, like this A half diminished chord, I would recommend using the 3, 5, 7, and then let's have the root replace the 9th, because 9th on half diminished chords is sometimes a little sticky of a subject. Now the next chord's a D7 flat 9, so we do want to use the flat 9 when we are doing the 3, 5, 7, 9 arpeggio. And then this next chord is G minor 6, so we will replace the 7th with the 6. I'll put a natural sign in parentheses. I didn't write a key signature on this little sheet. And I just believe that we can practice playing every single measure. No need to take a measure off. So here's measures 5 through 9. I'll show you one more spot. This is kind of a simplified version of the piece, but really frequently in bars 27 and 28, the chord changes move a little faster. They could be a bunch of different things, but let's just pretend it's G minor 7, C7, F minor 7, B flat 7. So then I would do this without any break. And this usually tends to be the hardest part for students, but I'm still doing the 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th for every chord. Does it matter if you go up or down for the, from one chord to the next? It doesn't matter a bit. You could go up, you could go down. I just wouldn't go like up to the sky or down until you're at the bottom of the piano. I try to keep it somewhat central. So. All right. And then, so I told you I'd show you a couple of variations. And the first variation I would show you is somehow leading into the third. And I say somehow, but let's say using using non-chord tones. So probably first thing to do would be a lower neighbor into the third. That would just be a half step below, and we'd put that on the and of 4. So it'd be like, I'll write it out for you. I'm a nice guy. Goodbye, time signature. I'm gonna need that space. Da da. And then G sharp leading to A, and then C sharp leading to D, and then F sharp leading to G. How am I coming up with these notes? I'm looking at the note on beat 1, and then I'm just using a note a half step below. Now this does make the fingering much more interesting. So I would, in this case, we always want to put our thumb on the white key, so I go 3, 2, 1. And here I would go 2, 1. So on each of these, I'm going to cross over the thumb. That's kind of number 1. Number 2 would really be a chromatic enclosure. Half step above, half step below. And that would be 4 and. Ba ba do ba do ba do ba ba do ba 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 do ba. I really can't sing any of these notes. So I'm gonna add one more note here, and it's gonna be 4 and 1 ba do ba, 4 and 1 ba do ba. So now it's not a dotted quarter note anymore. It's just going to be a regular old quarter note. And these are going to be 2/8 notes. So it's a half step above the target note, the third, and then a half step below. Last variation I'll show you before I show you what I've changed about this exercise. I know I'm really delaying. You guys are probably just on pins and needles. There's so much suspense. The other variation that I think is really important to do is to put a guide tone line on bottom. So I'm going to put every other of these arpeggios into inversion so that the 7th is on bottom. So that now each and every note has a voice leading partner that is moving by half a step or staying the same or moving just by step to the next note. Here I've used 7, 9, 3, and then 13 is really nice and colorful on major or dominant chords. But it could be 5 and should be on minor chords. And so now my right hand's going to be barely moving. If you've learned your 4-note voicings, this is going to look really similar to your kind of stock standard 4-note voicings. I'll use the 5th here instead of the 13th. All right, so now we got really smooth. So those variations I think are very important. Now, what I noticed with my students that I'm trying to fix through this new variation of the exercise is that they're always starting right on beat 1 or right after beat 1 as they improvise. So the chord will happen. And I realized that maybe with the exception of these chromatic neighbors and things like that, the exercise here basically is training them to do that, right? It's training them to think about each chord starting on beat 1. And so I thought, what if we take this same exercise that I really love and we make it also an exercise in leading into a new chord? So instead of, let's see, instead of starting on beat 1, sorry, I'm having each of these notes of the arpeggio now start as pickups to target beat 1. So we're going to start on the end of 3, and then we're going to land on beat 1 with the 9th. So still the same notes, 3, 5, 7, 9 of C. And then still in this C minor bar, I know it's a little bit weird, but I'm going to grab the 3, 5, 7 of F and then to the 9th. And so we're kind of thinking of, I guess we could say pickups, lead-ins, anticipation. You can kind of choose your word here, right? This is the 3, 5, 7, 9 of B flat. And you might say, well, those aren't necessarily the right notes for that chord. And it's amazing how forgiving our ear is as long as something lands right. So here I'm going to do 3, 5, 7, 9 of A half diminished, leading in on beat 1. And I said 3, 5, 7, 9, but here I'm replacing the 9th with the root, as we discussed. And then for the the D7 flat 9, and then for the G minor 6, again, I'm going to replace that 7th with the 6th. So let's say. Keep going. Some of you might be thinking, what about that section where you said that there might be two chords per measure? What would we do there? Well, basically the same exact thing we did, except everything's going to be bumped forward by 3 eighth notes. Do, ba, bo, bo. So there's the G minor. There's the C7. There's the F minor. And here's the B flat 7, and then we're leading into A half diminished. So in case that's not totally clear to you, that's all G minor. That's all C7, that's all F minor, etc. So 1, 2, 3. You might hear there's a couple moments of tension, but as soon as it resolves, everything's peachy keen, everything's good. Now, this does jeopardize one of my favorite things of this exercise, which is that the 3rd comes on beat 1. Now, the 9th is coming right as the chord changes instead of the 3rd. But there's an easy way to solve this, which is that we could start from the top of the arpeggio and go down. So we could do 9, 7, 5, 3, 9, 7, 5, 3, 9, 7, 5, 3, 9, 7, 5, 3. And I think it's great to practice both ways. So my hope with this exercise and with this revision of the exercise is that you're going to start focusing more on what's coming ahead in your improvisation and play from ahead of the changes rather than behind. It's just kind of a mental trick to get you playing from ahead of the harmony. Now, if these exercises seem like they're a really good level for you, Jazz Piano Fundamentals Book 1 might be a little on the easy side, but Jazz Piano Fundamentals Book 2 might be a perfect fit. So pick them both up, check them out. There's lots of good exercises. There's an improvisation activity at the beginning of every one of the 12 units in the Jazz Piano Fundamentals series. All right. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I said the words peachy keen, which is pretty embarrassing. So why don't you comment with something about peachy keen? All right. Bye, everybody.